moments ago, word from the White House that surge of federal agents to the Bay Area for immigration enforcement is on pause. We're expected to hear details from the San Francisco mayor at any moment now. Plus this. The news comes as protesters gather at times intensified their resistance this morning to the arrival of federal agents at Alameda's Coast Guard Island.
This is KTVU Fox 2 News at Noon.
Good afternoon. I'm Andre Sr. We start this noon with team coverage. The White House telling us, and sources confirm, the federal immigration operation has been put on pause. We have Ali Rasmus outside Coast Guard Base Alameda. Henry Lee has a reaction from Alameda County officials, including Mayor Barbara Lee. And we have a crew in San Francisco. That's the screen you see right there on your right-hand side as Mayor Daniel Lurie. He is set to speak about his phone call with President Trump to call off the deployment of federal agents. Now, President Donald Trump confirming the reversal on Truth Social. This is that statement that he posted. It says, in part, quote, "I spoke to Mayor Lurie last night and he asked very nicely that I give him a chance to see if he can turn it around. I told him I think he is making a mistake because we can do it much faster and remove the criminals that the law does not permit him to remove. I told him it's an easier process if we do it, faster, stronger, and safer. But let's see how you do." And it was confirmed by the White House press secretary, as we just heard moments ago, Carolyn Levitt, talking about the calling off of the federal enforcement in San Francisco. We are getting ready to hear Mayor Daniel Lurie speak about this, and this is a live picture from San Francisco City Hall right now. City leaders standing by his side as we wait for the mayor to come and speak about this issue. The city attorney, David Chu, is there with them as well as we wait for this to happen. While we wait for this, I want to tell you what Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi said shortly after the revelation of this information. This is her statement right here. She praises Mayor Lurie's, quote, exceptional leadership. The Congresswoman saying, quote, "In his handling of a potential federal deployment in our city that resulted in the president calling off the operation, Mayor Lurie has underscored that public safety must be driven by local priorities, respectful of our values and our communities as well." Meantime, protesters continue their demonstration in front of the entrance of Coast Guard Island, Alameda. KTVU's Ali Rasmus has been covering that protest since it began before sunrise this morning. Ali, still a pretty big crowd behind you this afternoon.
Yeah, not as big as it was. I'd say the peak was probably around 9 o'clock, but it kind of ebbs and flows, the vibe out here. So things are pretty peaceful, calm, and people were playing some music. Then there was a skirmish involving one of the protesters who pushed someone who they thought was with law enforcement. Turns out that man was actually a security guard for one of the media out here. So that happened a short time ago. And then every once in a while, there's another car that tries to come through this blockade that the protesters have set up, and then you hear some shouting, and then the protesters kind of walk over to whether it's the person in this case it looks like a tow truck or some other vehicles. Sometimes a couple times ago it was a man on a motorcycle, and they tried to convince the person to turn around and not go through here. So this has been the scene for much of the morning. The protest started really just after 5 o'clock, long before sunrise, and at one point after 7 there was a bit of a confrontation between some of the protesters who had blocked the crosswalk entrance. They were anticipating law enforcement officers from the federal government, from ICE, from Border Patrol to be entering in and trying to drive into Coast Guard Island. This is where that base of operations was supposed to be for this immigration enforcement that was supposed to happen before the president called it off. So in anticipation of that, there were protesters trying to prevent people from driving through. At one point, there were a couple of vehicles with Customs and Border Patrol. They had uniforms that clearly identified them as such, and the Border Patrol officers got out to try and tell the protesters to move out of the way. And here's what happened next. That was the first of 2 flashbang grenades deployed at the entrance to Coast Guard Island in Alameda. There was also some smoke bombs deployed, and at that point, The Border Patrol agents were able to drive in. There are about 6 or 7 vehicles that did drive into the Coast Guard Island. Now, the protest, again, this morning in response to reports that the Trump administration was going to be sending 100 federal immigration officers here to the Bay Area, and Coast Guard Island was supposed to be their base of operations. Earlier this morning, DHS told KTVU in a statement that it was going to be targeting the worst of the worst criminal aliens as part of this deployment. But local leaders and some of the protesters here say they did not believe that.
We know that that is not true. We know citizens are being picked up. We know people with green card holders are being picked up. Quite frankly, we know that if you are brown or black in this community, that you will be targeted, and that's why we have to come out and say, no, we must protect the sacred dignity of every one of our community members, regardless of their immigrant status.
No, they shouldn't, and if so, they need to be, turned loose. You can't just hold them, but it's complicated. I mean, I'm not involved in law enforcement. I don't, I'm not in that position, but it's gotten out of control. I mean, you got what, 10+ million people come in. You got to figure out who they are. I mean, you've got gangs here, you got fentanyl here, child trafficking. Someone's got to. You can't just let it go unchecked.
All right, we're going to interrupt Allie's last shot to go to Mayor Daniel Lurie in San Francisco, getting ready to speak now. Let's
Potential federal surge in our city. I said then what I've said since taking office, that keeping San Francisco safe is my top priority. Late last night, I received a phone call from the President of the United States. I told him the same thing that I have told our residents. San Francisco is on the rise. Visitors are coming back. Buildings are getting leased and purchased, and workers are coming back to the office. We have work to do, and we would welcome the continued partnership with FBI, DEA, ATF, and U.S. attorneys to get drugs and drug dealers off of our streets. But having the military and militarized immigration enforcement in our city will hinder our recovery. We appreciate that the President understands that we are the global hub for technology, and that when San Francisco is strong, our country is strong. Today in San Francisco, crime is down nearly 30% citywide, and violent crime is at its lowest levels since the 1950s. Car break-ins are at 22-year lows, and homicides are on track to hit 70-year lows. We are adding police officers and sheriff's deputies for the first time in a decade. We have record low number of encampments on our streets. Our new approach is delivering results. In our conversation, the President told me clearly that he was calling off any plans for a federal surge in San Francisco. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem reaffirmed that direction in our conversation this morning. I also spoke this morning to Attorney General Pam Bondi. She echoed her willingness to partner with our local law enforcement to combat fentanyl and hold drug traffickers accountable. Now, I'd really like to take a moment to thank our community leaders, our faith organizations, and immigrant groups, including the Rapid Response Network, who have been standing ready to provide accurate information and support when our residents need it most. I want to recognize everybody standing here with me, all of our local law enforcement partners, including our police department, our fire department, Department of Emergency Management, Sheriff Paul Miyamoto, District Attorney Brooke Jenkins, and City Attorney David Chu for their shared commitment to public safety in this city. I also want to thank our Board of Supervisors. Our work to keep San Franciscans safe is why San Franciscans believe in our city, and they believe that we are on the right track. And today's developments will help us continue to strengthen the trust we have built between communities and local law enforcement. I also want to thank Speaker Emerita Pelosi, Senator Schiff, Senator Padilla, Congressman Mullen, and Governor Newsom for their continued partnership and support for the people of San Francisco. As we look ahead, my team will continue to monitor the situation closely and our city remains prepared for any scenario. We have a plan in place that can be activated at any moment. But as I said yesterday, it is my sincere hope that we never have to put that planning into action. Finally, I'd like to once again thank our Board of Supervisors, many of whom stood with me yesterday and are here again today to discuss our executive directive. We are working every day to bring San Francisco back, to make it stronger and better than ever. And we are doing it together. I am profoundly grateful to all the San Franciscans who came together over the last several days during a difficult time. This takes everyone. Our community, our values, and our progress have been on full display. This is our city at our best. Together, we're providing and proving that San Francisco's comeback is real. And let me tell you, we are just getting started. Thank you.
Folks, we're going to do questions. We're going to do hands. We're going to go one at a time, and I'll apologize. So you guys start.
President Trump is putting out on his social media that prior to his conversation with you, he had had conversations with friends who live in the city or who have been in the city recently. We know that Benioff recently also kind of backtracked on his calls for the National Guard. Do you think that this call to you is based on some of these perceptions from Mr. Benioff, and do you have anything further to say on that?
Yeah, Sergio, I'm going to say what I've said and all I'm going to say about my conversation with the president. I believe everybody is seeing that crime is at record lows. Every statistic in our city is going in the right direction. I think that message is now getting out there. 70-year lows when it comes to violent crime, 22-year lows when it comes to car break-ins. Tents are at record lows. Everything is heading in the right direction, and I think that message has been made clear.
Did the president say anything about the rest of the Bay Area? Because Barbara Lee did not get a call like you did, and should the East Bay and other parts of the region be concerned still?
Heather, what the president said to me is that he is calling off the potential surge. Secretary Noem reaffirmed that to me this morning, and that's all I can say.
In San Francisco or in the whole Bay Area?
I was told the surge was being called off. He only spoke about San Francisco prior, so all I can say is what he told me.
Christian, wondering in the conversation with the president, did he want to, he indicated on Truth Social that he wanted to continue to see what he called progress. Wondering if he asked for proof or concessions or indications going forward or anything like that. Is this part of an ongoing conversation?
Yeah, he asked me for nothing. I think what he posted was true to the conversation, and everything I told you is all I said to him. I keep repeating, and I said to him that we are at 70-year lows when it comes to violent crimes. Tent encampments are at record lows. I spoke about more office space being leased than vacated for the first time. Retail is back. Hotel bookings are up 50%. Convention bookings are also up 50%. This is a city on the rise, and that's what I said to him, and it's what I say to everybody.
You affirmed the city's sanctuary policy yesterday, and I'm wondering, with this invitation to invite more cooperation with the FBI and ATF and other agencies that can hand people over to ICE, what is your message to immigrant families who are concerned about that?
Yeah, we have an ongoing partnership. We had it with the last administration to tackle fentanyl. We have weekly meetings where we are coordinating and our efforts to take drugs and fentanyl off the streets. We've made progress, but we still have a lot of work to do on this front. Fentanyl is a scourge in our city, and we will work with anybody that will help us end the fentanyl crisis on our streets.
Do you know if this calling off applies to all federal agencies? If not, what are the agencies?
All I can tell you is what the president said to me last night, and that he's calling off the potential surge. And Secretary Noem reaffirmed that to me this morning.
Can you talk, Mr. Mayor, can you talk a little bit about how this call came about? Did you solicit it? Did you reach out to any of these tech leaders or?
No, he picked up the phone and called me.
In his Truth Social post, he mentioned the NVIDIA founder and then Mark Benioff as some people who were helpful in this situation. He also mentioned others. Do you know who those other people are?
I don't. I'm just going to say I've said everything I'm going to say about the call. You know as much as I do on that other front.
Do you think that the billionaires in the city have too much influence with Trump or enough influence?
All I'm here today to talk about is that San Francisco is on the rise. It takes all of us. I so appreciate our immigrant leaders that came to City Hall yesterday. We were all well coordinated. I appreciate any business leaders that are committed to San Francisco. I always say this. We want to welcome small business and big business back to San Francisco. We want them to be engaged and involved in our public schools, our arts institutions, our transit. I want them engaged in this city. I appreciate anybody that wants to help San Francisco make it back to being the greatest city in the world.
You got this reassurance from the president, but you mentioned that you're still at the ready. Everybody's still ready. Why is that? Why do you feel the need to still be ready?
I think we as a city should be prepared for any scenario.
Does it have anything to do with, I mean, he's been known to change his mind. Is that a concern of yours?
I'm concerned about our immigrant community. I'm concerned about our city every single day. My focus every single day is public safety. It's my #1 priority, and I am committed to working alongside everybody here, from our DA to our city attorney to our police chief to our sheriff, to keep San Franciscans safe every single day. That is what I wake up thinking about. It's what I go to bed thinking about. How do we make our streets safe for everybody here in San Francisco? And that's what I'm committed to doing.
Do we know when the federal troops are going to be leaving the Bay Area?
All I can tell you is the conversation I had last night, and the president told me he was calling off the potential federal surge.
Patrick?
Yes, did your administration proactively enlist any business leaders to contact the president?
I can only tell you that what he said I didn't ask for anybody to call, he called me.
Yeah, hold on. Is that Andres?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
short.
you're good.
There's several rallies planned still. There's one outside. There's another one at 5. What's your call to those that plan these rallies, even though you know there's not going to be a surge?
Yeah, I think we should always protect everybody's right to protest peacefully. I support everybody's First Amendment rights. I want to tell everybody, if you're new to our city here today, we had close to 50,000 people on Market Street on Saturday, 0 arrests. We did it the San Francisco way. I was so proud of the people of San Francisco. I was proud of our law enforcement. We kept everybody safe. We're always going to protect everybody's First Amendment right, and I hope they do it peacefully.
The president mentions in his post criminals that it's easier for him to remove from the streets than it would be for you. Does he get specific with criminals? Is he talking about undocumented immigrants?
We did not talk about that.
Hey, Mayor. You've taken a different strategy than some of the other local leaders throughout the country, certainly Governor Newsom. How much do you think your strategy approaching the White House and the Trump administration helped maybe broker this deal or land on this agreement?
I think you've covered me. Every day I'm focused on San Francisco. Heads down, how do we keep our city safe? How do we tackle the behavioral health crisis on our streets? How do we make it easier for small businesses to thrive here in San Francisco? How do we get more people back to work 5 days a week? That's happening. I think I am laser focused on San Francisco every single day, and I'm going to remain laser focused on San Francisco. I think that's my focus.
Do you think it helps, though, that you've maybe taken a less antagonistic approach?
That's for you to talk about. I know what I know, and if I focus, and if everybody standing here focuses on how do we cooperate, how do we communicate with the public, how do we keep people safe, that's what San Franciscans want. And I think that's really important for people to know. This is not any. We have work to do in San Francisco. We've made a lot of progress because of the people that are standing by my side. The district attorney, Brooke Jenkins, is doing incredible work. Our city attorney is doing incredible work. And all of our law enforcement is doing incredible work every single day. And I think that's what is resonating with the people of San Francisco.
If Trump changes his mind, how do you think San Francisco will respond?
We went through preparedness all week. We have close communication with our immigrant leaders. Communities across our faith leaders have been so incredibly helpful. I think it's been a really challenging day for San Franciscans, challenging week, and I really hope that people can take a breath, that they can focus on taking care of their children and their families, their kids can focus on going to school. We still have a lot of issues around, we got to get people the food that they need in the coming weeks. And so I'll end with this. I'm incredibly proud to stand amongst these officials to my right and to my left. They are committed public servants every day, focused on San Francisco, focused on creating the opportunities for us to once again regain the status as the greatest city in the world. We're not that far away from it. We are the most beautiful city in the world, and I'm telling everybody, San Francisco is on the rise, and thank you all for being with us today.
So you were just listening to San Francisco Mayor Daniel Lurie talking about his phone call with President Trump, in which he said the president said he was calling off the surge in San Francisco. Lurie says he did not go on his way to ask for a call from the president, but that the president did call him and reach out to him and clearly stated that the surge was being called off. We also heard a similar statement from the White House a short time ago. Carolyn Levitt, the spokesperson for the White House, she said that the surge also was being called off as well. A couple of things still not clear at this point. Mayor Daniel Lurie was asked whether the calling off of this surge meant a surge in San Francisco or the Bay Area itself. Mayor Lurie did not elaborate on that. He pretty much stuck to his talking points of the statement that he released earlier, saying that he reiterated to the president that crime numbers are low in San Francisco, that more office space is being leased in San Francisco, and that efforts have been made to improve the issue of crime and encampments in the city. And that is what he expressed to the president, and the president told him he was calling off the surge in San Francisco. What we are still waiting to understand is what this means for the rest of the Bay Area. We saw those protests taking place earlier today in Oakland. We want to get over to Henry Lee now. He was at a press conference hosted by Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee earlier today to learn more about what is going on. Actually, we'll go over to James Torres. He is live over at Coast Guard Station Alameda with more where these protests have been going on for the last several hours. Good afternoon to you, James.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Andre. This is what it looks like over my shoulder here. We are at the entrance to the bridge of Coast Guard Island, a line of protesters on one side and a line of U.S. Coast Guard police officers on the other side. You can hear the protesters spewing comments over to those officers, and it's pretty calm and peaceful other than a couple just bit of a shouting match here from one side here. But at one point, a Customs and Border Patrol car tried making its way through the crowd. That was at somewhat the peak of the number of people out here. The protesters wouldn't allow it. That was their goal this morning. And the U.S. Coast Guard enforcement officers shot a flashbang to try to get them to move.
What happened to your friend, bro? Is he okay?
That flashbang rattled the crowd enough to move to get that car to go through. But not long after, we watched as a smoke bomb went off in a man's face, which you'll see on the right side of your screen. Had a chance to talk to him. He tells me he's a local church pastor in Oakland, and he wanted to make clear he was here protesting peacefully.
And I came just saying we're here in peace, and he didn't care. So there's nothing else to say. Then clearly he wanted to cause harm to me.
Officers launched a second flashbang, and then about a half hour later, we saw people carry a man limping from the crowd. Talked to him as well. He says a federal agent drove into the crowd and ran over his ankle.
All I know is that I was yelling for several seconds and he didn't back up, and so I don't know why he wasn't backing up immediately. I feel okay. I'm really proud of the people here standing up against fascism.
We watched as protesters mistook a local TV news security guard for one of these federal agents. We watched as a guy ran up to him, pushed him from behind, and he fell to the ground, got up with a bloody nose. Now, we should say that the protesters here saw that happen too, and they immediately condemned that attack. They say they are not here for violence. They removed that protester from this demonstration and said that that protester was not welcome back. Let's take you back live out here from where we are. Again, we are at the front of the bridge of the Coast Guard Island. You see a number of protesters who are lined up behind this blue line that's painted on the street. Once they cross that line, they are technically trespassing onto the Coast Guard Island, onto federal land. The Coast Guard here all lined up, those police officers lined up, making sure that none of these protesters attempt to breach to get into the island. Now, we have not seen any presence from the Alameda or Oakland police departments. We've heard from the city of Alameda saying that they are not doing anything in conjunction with ICE, with Customs Border Patrol, or any federal agency, so we have not heard of any arrests this morning after. But of course, we can tell you of those 3 injuries, which we practically saw with our own eyes as well. And for the most part, we haven't seen too many more extreme actions like those flashbangs or like those smoke bombs since early this morning. Right now, we're just hearing the shouting match from protesters at these officers. Some of those protesters say they'll stick around here for as long as they deem necessary. Well,
All right.
this morning, this afternoon near Alameda. I'll send it back to you, Andre.
Yeah, it's been going on for several hours now. No end in sight. Just avoid that particular area of Embarcadero if you're going to be in that area. James, thank you for that update. We have a Know Your Rights resource on our website, on the Fox Local app, too. You can download the app. Just scan the QR code you see right there on the lower right-hand side of your screen. You can download this app for your tablet, your phone, your smart television as well. We'll have breaking news alerts on it. We'll also carry press conferences when we're not on the air as well.